Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss about a case-based review, which is mainly to see the approach of microcephaly spectrum. So, I have divided into different levels, each and every case-based review. This is level two, a total one, two, three. This is 8-month-old child presented with microcephaly and developmental delay, now presented with seizures. So this is the CT scan initially. This is not the best quality, but I don't want to miss this fine findings in this CT scan. So these are photographed images of the film. Here, what you can see is multiple intracranial calcifications are there. These are punctate, not much nodular, 1 and 2 millimeters in size. They are predominantly located at the gray white matter junction, distributed. In addition, there is this oversimplification of the gyral pattern and subarachnoid space prominence. These are very important findings in the CT scan which to need to be perceived. These calcifications are not that best seen in the MRI, even in the susceptibility weighted imaging as well. Further down sections of the same patient. Here, what you can see is there is a smoothing of the brain, which is called lissencephaly, or here you can see the posteriorly there is some attempted gyral sulcal pattern. Here it is nearly normal, and this area sometimes can represent polymicrogyria. You cannot differentiate undersulcation over polymicrogyria all the time. So when you find lissencephaly, you need to see what type it belongs to, what grade it belongs to, and we need to classify accordingly. Here, white matter minimal hypodensities are noted. The ventricular size is larger. Subarachnoid spaces and subdural spaces are pretty much prominent, and corpus callosum posterior part may not be that well formed. Same patient MRI at ventricular level. T1 weighted images shows decent myelination. Subcortical U fibers are not at myelinated, which is 8 months. It's acceptable. There is not much delay in the myelination, but the cortex is thick. So this is a pattern of lissencephaly. Lissencephaly can be divided into ageria, pachygyria, and sometimes band-like heterotropia. So we need to grade and type these ones, which we can discuss in detail in the later part of the series. Now we need to find out what are the other association with this microcephaly. These are the different grades of the lissencephaly. This is not fully formed, which we are planning to we are planning to use this in the later lissencephaly spectrum. Here you can see the white matter hyperintensities are there. This could be gliosis, it could be unmyelinated fibers, and oversimplification of the gyrus seen bilaterally, roughly symmetrically, and subarachnoid spaces are prominent. So to make it very impressive, I've taken a 2 months elder to this. This is around 11 months or 12 months. This is 8 to 9 months. Here you can see how much the brain is developed. The subarachnoid spaces are too prominent here. This is a complete normally developed sulcal pattern and gyral pattern, and compare this to this particular one. And paucity of the white matter also need to be understood. This is the white matter volume, and compared to this white matter volume, which is much less. Here you can see in the down sections there is a severe subarachnoid space prominent. We don't need to look for all the differential diagnosis of subarachnoid space prominence, or we don't need to look into all the bat wing sign and other signs. This is very normal for microcephaly. When the brain, the cranium itself is underdeveloped, further brain is also, if develops further less than the cranium, you will see the subarachnoid spaces prominent. This is much more exaggeration than physiological subarachnoid spaces prominence, which comes below 1 year. Here we need to assess the basal ganglia. Thalami appears little bit hypoplastic. Basal ganglia are appears normal, and brainstem and cerebellum need to be assessed. Cerebellum looks larger or normal in development. Brainstem also nearly normal. So microcephaly. When do you call microcephaly? If the head circumference is more than two standard less than two standard deviations, then it is microcephaly. If it is less than 3 percentile, then it is microcephaly. You can measure antenatally also with the BPD and other parameters. It can be primary, where there is no obvious demonstrable etiology. It could be genetic most of the times. Secondary, it can be due to some insult. So gross, there are 20, 30 causes of microcephaly. It's beyond the scope to discuss all those rare syndromes. We can classify either it is syndromic or genetic, or secondary to some intracranial infection and other insults, including ischemic insult or any other traumatic insults, which hormonal other issues, all other issues might lead to microcephaly or poor growth of the brain and cranium further. Here you can see the particular image is projected to show the cerebellar volume is increased compared to the supratentorial size. So cerebellum might not be affected. So it could be normal to age matched control, but it's looking larger. And the ventricular dilatation, most of the times ventricular dilatation is a part and parcel of the microcephaly spectrum, developmental ventriculomegaly, that's itself, rather than ex vacuo dilatation or hydrocephalus. But you need to exclude any obstructive causes. However, the sagittal images are very important to assess the brainstem growth pattern and corpus callosum. This corpus callosum is normally myelinated, but it is thin, immature configuration. The rostrum is absent, and splenium is also pretty much small and hypoplastic. It can be called the hypoplastic or dysgenetic corpus callosum, to call it broadly. So, how do you classify microcephaly? It's even the clinician gives you a fair idea about microcephaly before arriving to our diagnostic purpose MRI. But it's important to cross check whatever clinician says. Um, you need to compare with the face length with brain length or cranial length. This is called craniofacial ratio. There are so many methods of measuring this in the CT scan, CT morphometry, and skull X-ray itself and MRI. But it's very difficult, and it's pretty much easy to compare this baby with another normal head baby of a similar age group, which gives fairly good idea. Here you see the brain length superior inferiorly is smaller compared to this bar, which is facial, compared to the normal child, where the length of the superior inferior length of the brain is much more compared to the facial length. But there are certain criteria to measure this one, but this is the simple method you can do. Here you can see corpus callosum to understand. This is around 11 months old child. This is around 8 to 9 months old child. Here corpus callosum is underdeveloped. This is nearly 1 year, which is comparatively shows pretty much thicker compared to our patient. So, what are the things you need to see in the microcephaly? Perinatal history of the fever, that gives you a clue. This patient has perinatal history of fever a couple of times. That helps us to conclude that or look into an infectious cause, and confirming microcephaly and grading it. As we have discussed, intracranial calcifications are a very important clue. That is very strong clue towards infection. But remember that some non-infectious syndromic conditions also have this intracranial calcifications, and the pattern of calcification is important, whether they are periventricular, randomly distributed, or gray white matter junction located. Circular migration abnormalities are important part of all this microcephaly and very commonly present, which we need to classify and see. White matter volume is usually reduced in microcephaly, which need to be mentioned. Status of the myelination to the current date of the examination need to be addressed. Deep gray white matter, sometimes the deep gray nuclei are also underdeveloped along with this microcephaly spectrum, so which we need to check that list into the list. Posterior fossa structure, especially cerebellum. Corpus callosum is very commonly gets involved in various syndromic conditions, including microcephaly. So a good sagittal section is very important to get into this. That's all for now. So we'll come again with listen carefully in detail, with types of listen carefully and pattern of listen carefully. This is mainly to show microcephaly. My sincere acknowledgements to all these people. Thank you very much.